I am a mobile journalist, and I use my mobile phone to shoot, edit, publish, and distribute all our content. And there's a couple of reasons why we do this. The first one is intimacy. So when I am out in the field, there's a big difference between me holding up a camera like that and me holding up a camera like that, right? There's kind of a barrier between me and that camera. But the mobile phone is far more intimate. People feel like they can trust the person a lot more when they're holding a mobile phone as opposed to this big broadcast camera. So it has that an element of intimacy and trust. It's cost effective. It doesn't really cost much to take your phone out and do a video, whereas it costs a lot of money to be able to have a camera like that, to have the manpower to do it, to hire someone to go out and do it. With a mobile phone, all of you can do it. And all of your communities and all of the people that you're working with and all of these people around you, they can all do it. So you can have all of this content coming in and you can be working with all of that content as well. And then it's quick. So the time that it takes me to go out and shoot something on my phone and then quickly edit it and put it up online is very quick compared to the time it's going to take him to go out, take his SD card, put it into a computer, edit it. The timeline is way different. It's much quicker to do it on a phone. Also, by doing it on a phone, by doing it on a mobile, it allows me to think of the way that a mobile consumer is consuming that content. When I'm looking at it, I can say, hey, these subtitles are too small. Nobody's going to be able to see it on a tiny mobile screen. So I make the subtitles bigger. It makes me think exactly how they're consuming it. Also, it brings me far closer, I think, to reality than holding up a big camera because I can be anywhere. I can be absolutely anywhere at a protest or wherever. I can walk out the door now and something can happen and I can pull out my mobile phone. But I'm not always going to have like this big broadcast camera with me. And for me, the professionalism of it is in the reality of it. Reality is the new quality. So my mobile phone allows me to do all of these things. Let's quickly do a Mojo 101, just like technically how to shoot. The first thing is orientation. So a lot of people will tell you, shoot that way, right? That's what we hear all the time. I personally like to shoot that way. I think it's optimized for mobile this way, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you can shoot this way as well. But the only thing I can tell you is that if you're starting to shoot this way, shoot your entire story this way. If you're starting to shoot this way, shoot the entire story this way. Don't change halfway through the story to a landscape when you've started with the vertical. Continue exactly how you've started. For me, the reasoning behind why I shoot vertical versus landscape or how I choose which way to shoot is based on which platform I'm thinking that my content is going to go on. If I'm thinking it's going to go on YouTube, it's a lean back approach. People are usually not that interactive with the content. So it's a lean back approach. I'm going to shoot it landscape. It's a longer piece, right, for YouTube. If I'm shooting for like Snapchat, obviously it has to be vertical. But even Facebook for me, it's going to be like a shorter video. People are probably watching it like on their commutes or whatever to work, or on the train or whatever. So for me, I think that that duration of time lends itself to a vertical video because that's how somebody's going to watch a short video. They're not going to turn their phones around. Audio. Now, I can fix a lot of things in post-production. I can fix the video, I can fix the blurry images, I can color grade, I can do lots of things. We can animate and things like that with the video. So there's lots of things I can change with the video. Audio, there's nothing I can do. You can't change it in post-production. So make sure that your audio is right while you're in the field. There's a couple of things you can do. You can have mics like these, you can have lapel mics, you can have handheld mics. I personally use, like most of the time I don't have those mics. I'm using these. This has a mic in it. It's like your normal headphones. I'm using these. This has a mic. If I'm talking, I'm usually just like talking into the mic like that, or like an interview. If you don't even have these, then make sure you're in like a quiet sort of place. Make sure it's not too windy. And if you're doing an interview, you want to be as close to the person as possible so that the sound is as good as it can be. You're not going to like shoot from here if he's sitting there and if it's a loud area. So be as close to the person as possible. Light is easy. Always, if you're shooting, light always behind you so the light is hitting the person that your subject. Composition. So if you think of your frame, so think of this frame as like a grid and like the rule of thirds, right? So you want to frame your person, you want to frame your subject, not in the middle of the screen, because it doesn't rate, because there's this, all of the space on either side of it. You want to frame people like in the corners of those grids, like in that corner, like there or there. It just looks much better and it feels more professional. Static shots. Okay, now normally when people film things, like just people doing normal filming, this is how they film. They're like, hey, look, I have a computer. They're just like kind of all over the place. You don't want to do that. So if I want to pan across you guys, how I'm going to do it is I'm going to start off in one position, again, holding very steady. I'm going to pan and I'm going to land. I'm going to land the shot again and then hold it for like another 3 seconds. Again, we don't want shaky shots. We want shots that are that start off static, and then if you want to pan, again, land on the shot. Then you want a variety of shots. So you want tight shots, you want wide shots, you want medium-sized shots. So if I'm doing an interview with you, I want a shot of you, like full you, a wide shot. Then I want a tight shot of your face. I might want like a really tight shot of your eye or something like that. I want shots of your hands. So you want to have a variety of shots. So when you're editing, you have more than just one image to work with. Sequences. Your stories basically have to have a start, a middle, and an end. So if somebody's walking into the room, for example, you'll have them walk into the room, you'll have another shot of them sitting down, another shot of them like opening their laptop, another shot of them typing on their laptop. So it's a very like linear sequence of events. So you want to think about that. Storyboarding. So before you even shoot anything, the story is the most important thing. Obviously, you guys know this, and we've been harping about this for the past 2 days. But your story is the most important thing. So you need to have storyboarded. You need to know like these are the kinds of shots I want. This is how I want my piece to start. And if you have that in mind when you're going to shoot, it just makes it so much easier. Then you're not like, oh shit, I missed that. Like I want that or whatever. Like you have something in mind that you want to shoot. Shooting to visuals. If you are talking about a car, then have a shot of a car. If you are talking about a phone, have a shot of a phone. Shoot and write to visual. Cutaways, I kind of spoke about. If you are doing a piece of this workshop, I want cutaways of like this building. I want cutaways of all of you. I want cutaways of maybe this because it's their workshop. So you want like a variety of cutaway shots, not just like an interview, because then you just have like a one-dimensional video. Well, you heard about VR, you heard about 360, you'll know about lives, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook lives, all of the stuff. Like there's so much at our disposal. And when we're out in the field, how do we decide what we do first? We only have one phone and 2 hands, so how do we decide what we're doing? So the first strategy is a prioritization format strategy. And this is what we do. We break it down into a triangle. And the triangle basically goes, the bottom is the foundation, is what we do most of. And then it goes up to what we do the least of. And how we break down this triangle is based on return on investment, but not return on investment when it comes to money, but return on investment of how much effort am I putting into this, how much work is this taking me, the time it's taking me to do, versus what is the engagement that I'm getting out of it. How many shares, how many likes, how many conversations am I starting around the subject or around this content? So who can tell me what would be the base of our triangle? What would have the highest ROI in terms of the least amount of effort that I would take, that it would take, versus the most amount of engagement that I would get, and most priority on platforms? Lives, exactly. At the bottom of the triangle, this forms the basis of everything that we do. We do the most amount of lives, and then we build up on that, and we'll talk about the other elements as well. These are my 10 tips for doing good Facebook Lives. Facebook Lives might seem like they don't take a lot of effort because you're just holding down on the button and you're starting your live. But there is some preparation and there's some decision making when it comes to, is this a good content for live? Should I be doing a live now? And these are my 10 tips. So the first one is suspense. Does anyone know why we watch sports? Why do people love watching sports on TV? Because you don't know what's going to happen next, right? So it's the same with the Facebook Live. People watch it and there has to be an element of suspense. So much so that the audience don't know what's going to happen, and sometimes you don't even know what's going to happen. For example, if you're going to like a refugee camp or something, you guys work in suspenseful situations all the time. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen or what you're going to see, kind of thing. So your story should always have this element of suspense. Engagement. So Facebook is not that difficult when it comes to algorithms. Facebook will prioritize what everybody's talking about, right? So the more people are talking about your content, the higher it's going to go on people's timelines. So always remember that. And to increase your engagement on a Facebook Live, there's a couple of things that you can do. Firstly, you need to share your Facebook Lives while you are live, not after you've gone live. Like I said, more conversations more comments in that comment section, more engagement between you and the audience. It's going to just be prioritized high up on people's timelines. When you're sharing, before you even do your live, think about like who you're going to share it to. Think about like which friends you're going to share it to, which influencers you're going to share it to, which groups you want to seed it into. Think about your sharing strategy should be as important as the content that you're going to produce out of it. It should be in the same conversation. Half of that conversation should be about how am I going to share this content. I'll give you an example. My husband and I, Yusuf, we lived in India last year in New Delhi, and we were in Jama Masjid, which is like this huge mosque in Old Delhi. And we wanted to do kind of a travel piece on Old Delhi and on the mosque, but we didn't want to do it like just normally, so we decided to do a Facebook Live. But we said to the audience, you tell us where to go. Tell us to go right or tell us to go left. So in that way, we created suspense of what's going to happen, where are they going to go. We said to the audience, tell us what to eat. There's these options, tell us which one to eat, kind of thing, you know. And then we had the engagement of the audience telling us exactly how to move forward. So the audience had to engage back for us to move forward. So at that intersection of suspense and engagement, where you can create that I don't know what's going to happen, but the audience is at the same time engaging with the content, that's where the magic is. That is where the sweet spot of Facebook Live is. So when you're thinking, I'm in the field, should I do a Facebook Live? The first thing you should think, is there enough suspense here, and can I create engagement from this content? And if you can, then do a Facebook Live. The third thing is get out of the studio. So if you're going to work on a mobile, then you have to be mobile, because it just allows you to do that. If I'm talking about like a movie review or whatever, just a random example, I'm going to be outside a movie house talking about it. If I am talking about like a new policy that the courts have put into use or whatever, I'm going to be outside the courthouse. So if you're on a mobile, be mobile. Change the format. So the Jama Masjid example I just said to you guys, that's an example of changing the format. I'm trying to do a travel piece, but I'm thinking differently about the perspective of the audience. I'm trying to give them a different perspective of what this Jama Masjid looks like and what it feels like and what traveling around here means. Schedule. So before you go live, like the day before or hours before, you want to tell your audience, you want to schedule it with your audience, with your Snapchat audience, with your Instagram audience, with all of your audiences, wherever they are, Twitter audiences. You want to say to them, hey, I'm going to go live in 2 hours, or I'm going to go live tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and this is what I'm going to talk about. So join me on that live. So you want to schedule it to maximize the amount of distribution you have on that live. The next thing is good internet. Obviously, if you don't have good internet, there's no point going live because it's going to be intermittent and it's going to cut off. There's a couple of things you can do for internet. There's something called Wi-Fi Assist on, I don't know if it's on Androids, but it's on iPhones. And if you hit Wi-Fi Assist, it basically takes the best signal, or it takes like a combined signal of like the 3G and the Wi-Fi, so you get an even better signal. If you are in a place where the signal is like really low, then ask the people around you to turn their phones off if that's possible, and so you can get a better bandwidth with that. The next thing is introduce the subject often, reset the stage. So radio people do this really well. The same people that are watching your Facebook Live at 2 minutes is not the same people watching your Facebook Live at 10 minutes. Your audience are going to keep coming in and out. That's just the way Facebook Lives work. And so you want to continually reset the stage. You want people to know, this is why I'm here, this is what I'm talking about, this is who I am. And also you want to encourage them, ask questions in the comment section. You want to ask them questions as well so that they have an opportunity to respond back. So reset the stage often. Add text. So on a Facebook video, on a normal video, 80% of people are watching the video with the audio off. So you always want to subtitle your videos, always. On a Facebook Live, 90% of people are watching with the audio off. Now you can't necessarily subtitle while you're live. There's no way you can subtitle now. But on Facebook Lives, it allows you to do like a drawing tool, like how you would do on Instagram or Snapchat. So you could use that to add context. You could, I'll show you some other examples of how you can change the format kind of to include text. Another thing you can do is after the live, so straight after the live, you're going to download it, you're going to save the live, and you're going to take it up to YouTube. You're going to add SRT files. And they have a number of languages that you can subtitle it. It's not 100% correct, but you can go and like tweak it. And that's a good way, and you can put the subtitles back up. So it's not like it's not like you're taking the video down and it's coming off of Facebook. You can just integrate those SRT files into the file. It's yes, so you take it from Facebook into YouTube and then back into Facebook. The next thing is time. So when I talk about time, I'm talking about two things. Firstly, the length of your video. For a Facebook Live, you want your live to be at least 10 minutes long, because it takes Facebook a couple of minutes to tell your audience, hey, this person's live, and then it takes them a couple of minutes to come into your live. So you want to be at least 10 minutes in. Also, like I said, the same people that are watching at 2 minutes are not the same people watching at 10 minutes. And you want to maximize your reach while you're live. You want to share everything while you're live, so you want to be live for a considerable amount of time. The second thing about time was that I was telling these guys a story about how Yusuf and I were in India, and it was like 1 a.m. on a Friday night. And we were out, we weren't like walking or anything. And then we saw like this huge line of people outside the ATM, and they were all queuing up to get money. Because demonetization had just happened. And I was like, Yusuf, this is so silly. Why would you do a live now? Like, it's so late. Who's going to be watching it? No one in India is going to be watching it. People are going to be out, or people are going to be asleep. And it ended up getting like 700,000 views or something like that, like something silly. Because there was like a sweet spot where not many other people were going live. So there's no right answer to say that, hey, this is the time that Facebook Lives work really well. It depends on your organization. It depends on where you are. But you have to experiment with timings. You have to experiment with when you want to do your Facebook Live. So don't ever think, this is a terrible time, because you might just hit a sweet spot. Be cautious. So you guys are often in situations where you can't necessarily like show kids' faces, or you can't show faces of like people that haven't yet been convicted and haven't had their days in court and things like that. So you have to be super cautious when you're doing a Facebook Live. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. For us, we do something where we like usually before we like go into the situation, we're like filming ourselves or filming the floor, but always talking to the camera, always giving the audience context of what's happening and why you're not filming. So it can still have that element of suspense. It can still be super interesting, even if you don't have the visuals that you want to have. But definitely assess the situation first before you go live, because once it's live, it's live. So the next thing on my priority triangle is what I like to call almost live, and that is stories. And when I talk about stories, I talk about Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Snapchat stories, WhatsApp stories. So essentially, I'm going to use Snapchat. For me, I like Snapchat. I like Instagram as well. Instagram is a better distribution tool, but Snapchat for me still has better tools They're a better content creation and editing tool. So I'm going to go into Snapchat, opens up into the camera, right? Because they want us to create content. If you swipe left, this is your chat section. This is where you're having one-to-one conversations with your friends. Again, you go to the middle, it's your camera, because camera is at the center of everything. And this is exactly how they intended to design it. If you swipe right, these are all your friends' stories. If you swipe right one more time, this is your Discover section. These are where like the publishers, all the publishers are. They are paid to be here. They don't play in the same rules as like us normal people on Snapchat. They have different rules. They can do different things. Looks a lot more professional. But if you want inspiration on how to create mobile optimized like shows and content for mobile, this Discover is the place to look. Snapchat also have their own original content. They have a show called Good Luck America. It's their own show created by them. It's very cool, and you guys should check it out. It's like a once a week show on the Discover section. And yeah, a lot of inspiration you can get from here. So this little thing here, you can see it here, that is your memory section. That's where like your archive is, where everything is stored. So if I go here, all my slides that I've created on Snapchat and put into Keynote, it's basically split up into 4 tabs. So all is all of your snaps. If you go to stories, so stories is like a culmination of your snaps, like the linear story of your snaps. So one after the other creates a story. Your camera roll, if you have spectacles, they'll also form part of here, but they'll say instead of 3 snaps, it'll say specs. Camera roll, where you can bring things in from your camera roll, and then My Eyes only if you want to have a password protected for some of your content. Okay, so all you have to do is hold down the button to record. On the button to record. Yep. It gives you a whole number of options here. The T is for text. I can write whatever I want to. I press the T again, it makes the text bigger. I can change the color of the text. I can make it bigger, whatever I want to do. Super easy, right, to add text. If I want to draw stuff, I can go to the pencil. I can draw stuff, right? If I want to add an emoji or a sticker. So there's some cool stuff here. Do you guys have Bitmojis? The ones that do use this? Yeah? So you can have like these little caricatures of yourself, and like Snapchat has bought Bitmoji, and so they integrate it into the app, so they give you like different scenarios and things like that, and you can just search for things. Like if I search for phone, it'll give me like selfies and things like that. So that's quite cool. If I want to add a filter, just swipe across the screen to add a filter. It gives me like the temperature filter. I can put that into Fahrenheit or into degrees Celsius. It gives me altitude. It gives me the time and date. All of these act as verification. Like us as journalists, this is like a built-in verification. I can't change this. There's no way I can change it from the 6th. I can't change it from what the temperature is. So it's just a whole nother layer of verification that I can add to my content. If I want to add 2 layers of filters, if I want to add a location, I just hold it down with one finger and I swipe across. And I can say Budapest. So now I have 2 filters. I have the location and I have the temperature. If I want to add one more, if I want to make it black and white, I can add one more. Again, you're just layering information, yes. Another cool thing you can do is link out. On Snapchat, you can link out, anyone can link out. So you just go to the link out, you type in your website. It's a good way to refer people to your website or to other bigger content if you have them in other places. When you do that, you want to direct your audience. You want to say, click here to link out. You want to really tell them what to do. The other thing you can do is the scissors feature, which is really cool. If you want to add a logo, for example, so I'll just go, so I took a picture earlier. I just literally went on Google and I got this picture of this brand. And I want to add the logo to my story. So I go into Snapchat, I go into my memory section, into camera roll, and here is the logo. I hold it down, press edit photo, click on this scissor option, and then I just like chase it out. Oops. Why is it not letting me? Sorry, it's not going to be very neat, but you can make it neat. And I've created my own sticker. Yep, press done. So then when I do my story, I can add a logo. I can say this is who I am. The next thing on the triangle after stories is explainers. I'm sure you've seen tons of this on Facebook, just like pictures with big bold text and music, right? This is very easy to do. I use an app called Quik, Q-U-I-K. This is what it looks like. Q-U-I-K, okay? I open the app. I press the plus button at the bottom. I'm just going to take like random images. I'm going to try and find 5 images. Cool. Add 5. And then it gives me like a whole lot of templates that I can use. And the templates have rights-free music. It has fonts. It's very easy. Okay? I can, if I go to this button here, I can add text to each one of them. Like, I don't want it to say that. I want it to rather say, like, Mojo Workshop. Okay? I can add text to all of them. This is an app called Quik. Yeah, it's just an app that you can then, so you can save your work and you can put it onto other platforms. And then I have a cool video. You can add your own music. The music on here is rights free, so you can use it on all the platforms. I can change the formats, either cinema style, which is landscape, or square for Instagram. So it's super easy. Next on the triangle is Mojo. So I've been talking about all of this stuff. This is where the proper real Mojo comes in. So it takes a little bit more effort for me to go out into the field, to shoot, to edit, to do all of that. All of this stuff is like super easy to do. This takes a little bit more effort. Also for Mojo, what I like to do is I like to put elements of all of these into it. So that's why I say the live is my baseline, because I'm using parts of my live. I'm using parts of my stories. I'm using parts of my explainers. And I'm making this like really cool Mojo video with lots of different elements in it. Okay, so we're going to watch a video. This video that Yusuf and I did, it had, actually Yusuf did this video, and it took him like 30 minutes to shoot it and 30 minutes to edit it. It got 4 million views in the first 4 days, and it's on 8 million views now. We'll watch it, and then we'll talk about what the structure of it is.
Are you an ugly Indian? All of us here are the ugly Indians.
This place smells like urine. A lot of urine. This is our problem.
The Ugly Indian is a Facebook group that focuses on spot fixing, spotting an ugly part of their towns or their cities and fixing it.
It's meditation.
It's about the broken window theory, that if an area is ugly,
Ugliness attracts ugliness.
but if you can make it beautiful, people will look after it.
Make the space look like somebody is taking care of it.
The tragedy of the commons, that we protect our private spaces, but we neglect public areas.
Erase the signs of neglect, which is the posters on the wall and installing symbols of respect. The picket fence kind of a design, sharp edges, triangles, actually works on the psychology of the onlooker that we should not mess up with the streets.
In India, there's a real problem of people spitting tobacco to paint the bottom of the street red. So if they are going to spit into that corner, it'll be less visible. But of course, you can't really fix a problem just by painting over it. This is positive, disruptive anarchy.
How to influence people's psychology.
And it's largely based around Facebook. You take a picture before and you take a picture afterwards.
Before and after makes larger impact than that of words.
Nobody's being paid to do this. This is not even an NGO. It's just an idea, the ugly Indian, to make India more beautiful.
In fact, we are all the ugly Indians because unless and until we accept the fact and assume the responsibility of the dirt and filth, we won't be able to solve it.
Have you had an impact on your street? Let us know and share this video.
Cool. So there's a couple of things that we can talk about the structure. When we're doing a normal piece, when we're doing a TV piece or just a normal narrative, the narrative kind of looks like this. We start off with, this is, we're in Budapest, this is what we're talking about. Like, it's quite linear in the way that it is. That's how TV works, right? Social is very different. You have 3 seconds to capture your attention. It's kind of like this, right? You need to get to the point kind of thing. Or you need to get to the, like, you need to capture them for those 3 seconds so they watch the rest of the video. So you can see Yusuf started his video with, that man is urinating on the wall. It's not the, this is Budapest line. It is your most, it's not your most important image or your most important shot. It is your most provocative statement. That's how you should start your video. The next thing he says is, are you an ugly Indian? He's asking the audience a question. He's asking them to say something about themselves. And that's why people will share the video, because they share things that say something about them. By them sharing it, they say, yes, I believe that pollution is bad and that spitting and tobacco, spitting on the wall is bad. It says something about me, so I'm going to share it. The next thing he does is, there's some like emotive shot. This place smells like urine. This is like terrible, right? He has some emotive shots. Only about 11 seconds into the video is he like, this is the Ugly Indian campaign. It's a Facebook campaign, and he's telling you like kind of what it's about. The next part of his video is kind of like this. It's him talking, the other guy talking, him talking, the subject talking, right? So in the field, he would have taken interviews with the guy, and then he filled in the blanks of basically what the guy didn't say, but the context that he wanted to add to the story. And that's why it's quite a cohesive story. Again, he didn't go back to the office to do that. He did that in the field, so it looks like a continuous story. It doesn't change the pace of the story. It's not like a boring place where he's just like in front of a wall. He's in that same space. He's wearing the gloves. He's like, it's a very colorful image, so he's using that. He ends with, have you had an impact on your street? Again, asking the audience a question, have you had an impact? Yes, I've had an impact. I want to say something about myself in the comment section. So you want to create those, all it is creating conversations. And the way you do that is a two-way communication space. You have to ask the question so that they can reply, and then you reply. That's all it is. And then he says, share this video. Don't be afraid to nudge the audience on a little bit, to nudge them on to share the video. There's nothing wrong with that. So that was kind of the structure of that video. What he used to do it and what we use to edit normally is, everybody has this on their iPhones. It's iMovie. If you don't have an iPhone, the similar or equal one on Android is called KineMaster. It is that one. Yep. And it's super easy. So all I do is, I'm going to take a video of myself, just like a piece to camera, and I'm going to say, hi, I'm Sumaya, and I am in Budapest, and I'm talking to this amazing group of people about mobile journalism, about using their phones to tell great stories. Okay. I spoke about mobile phones. Anybody got a mobile phone for me to have? Asha, do you want to? Let me take a video of your mobile phone.
Yeah, sure.
I can't move there. You have to come to me. Sorry. I'm stuck to a wire. Cool, so I'm going to take a quick shot of his mobile phone, just like a 3-second shot. I spoke about you amazing people. Say hello. Cool. I go into iMovie. Okay, the first thing I start off is with my link, right? I spoke to the camera. I lay it down. Oh, there we go. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to listen to myself.
Hi, I'm Sumaya and I am in Budapest and I'm talking to this amazing group of
Talked about this amazing group of people. There you guys are. Make that a little bit shorter.
journalism about using their phones to tell
Phones. There we go. I'm going to add some music, fade to black.
Hi, I'm Sumaya and I am in Budapest and I'm talking to this amazing group of people about mobile journalism, about using their phones to tell great stories.
Very simple, right? Very quick. It's not difficult to do. Everyone can do it. On the top of my triangle, very quickly, is the stuff that I love doing, not yet that accessible to the audience. VR, drone stuff we still use a lot because we put it as part of our mojo. So the point of the triangle is your foundation is the stuff that you do a lot of. It's to get all of that content together. And then you just build on it. And eventually you have this amazing mojo story like the Ugly Indian, but you have elements of all of these things in it, right? Last thing I want to show you guys is apps. So a couple of cool apps that I use a lot, Pick, Play, Post. So Pick, Play, Post allows me to do so say I have like vertical videos, but I want to do it in like a landscape format, or I have landscape videos, but I want to do it in a vertical format. So say I choose, you can select your ratio here. So say I choose a 9:16, that's a vertical for Snapchat video, right? Or for Instagram stories. But I only have landscape. So I'm going to choose this one to like use my landscape videos and pictures. And then I'm going to start adding. So maybe I want to add a picture here. And a picture down there. Okay. And then maybe I want to add a video.
Hi, I'm Sumaya and I am in Budapest.
Super easy, right?
This amazing group of people about mobile journalism, about using their phones to tell great stories.
Okay, so I've taken landscape content and I've made it into a vertical, but I've added value to it by overlaying it with pictures and with other elements to it. The next thing is Pocket Video is quite cool. It lets you like choose what format you want to put it in, which is nice. It's just an editing app. You guys have Boomerang, made by Instagram, very useful to add like a more fun layer to your stuff. Gravy is the app that we used for the subtitling. You know, the big white bold subtitles in the Ugly Indian video? That's what we use, Gravy. The cool thing about Gravy is that usually subtitles, the worst thing about it is that it takes very long because of the timings and things like that. With Gravy, you just press down on a button and you press it down for the amount of time that you want, and you can add subtitles just for that point in time. So that it makes the timing super easy. The next one is LumaFusion. So LumaFusion is the only app I pay for. Everything else is free. It is like the Final Cut Pro or Premiere for your phone. It has everything. Yeah, you can basically do everything in this one app. KineMaster is like the iMovie for Android. Video Scribe is cool. Basically, you can put in, you can write stuff and then you put in an image, and just going to do that. Press play, and it basically it draws out whatever you've put in, which is quite cool. Apple Clips is a good one. When you're recording yourself, it listens to what you're saying and it will subtitle. So for example, like I had done one earlier, like the other day.
It's a cold day in London.
So it's pretty cool. It listens to you and it will transcribe. Very easy to subtitle. That is Apple Clips. Unfortunately, only available on iOS. Sorry. The other one to show you is Placecam. So Placecam is like, I guess, the new app that like people are talking about. It allows you to do like augmented reality, like subtitling or like titles. So you just do that. You can choose the font you want, and you can choose what you want to write. And it's like quite cool. Thank you guys.